Welcome to another exciting episode of the Be Different KE podcast. And with me, I have my very good friend, but I will let her introduce herself after we do the introduction session of saying our interesting, something that has stood out in the past 2 weeks. Something out of the norm, Nduku, that has happened to you in the past 2 weeks that you're free to share.
Okay, hi. I don't know. Yeah, my name is Nduku. A long-time friend. I don't know how many years now.
Must we say?
Yeah, we don't have to.
We don't have to say,
Yeah.
but it's over a decade.
I know. We go.
We go way back.
Yeah. So if
Yeah.
you want some inside information, I'm the person. Yeah, I mean, the last 2 weeks have been a bit of everything, and like on Friday was my last working day, which was a bit bittersweet. I had been working for the institution for 4.5 years, and now seeing off, like letting go of everything, was hard. It was a very emotional day for me. Like, it was really a roller coaster. I had not realized, I had not processed, I had not been prepared for what was gonna, what all this was gonna do to, was gonna do to me. But I'm happy. It's a step, it's a step towards whatever we are moving forward to, like relocating, closing shop in Nairobi. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not yet there. I'm not a proper organizer. I'm a last minute person, so I'm still like struggling to get things where they have to be. But so far, so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, my past 2 weeks have been crazy busy, but there's something that I saw the other day. There's this, I think she's a Nigerian lady that I followed pretty recently on social media. And she gives this corporate to corporate, some advice, corporate to corporate, from corporate girl to corporate girl. So there's one that I saw talking about, actually I'm mixing up two issues. The one I saw was just a joke on one of these, it was a meme, talking about how many hours we spend in the office. For us, people who work 7 to 6, how much time we spend in traffic, how much time we spend in the office, how much time we spend in traffic going back home. And I reshared that thing, and someone came to my DM and said, can you imagine you spend so much time with your colleagues and not the same amount of time with the kids that you love? And that thing broke my heart. And I was like, wow. I felt like I need a break to think for a few days, then to restructure my life, because I really need to just...
I know, yeah.
So it was a big blow on my face, reality check.
Yeah.
Like, we spend so many hours at our places of work, and seeing the people that we work with more than the people that we love, which is our families. And I was like, I need to change that. For me, I need to change that, because I think I need to reprioritize my life, honestly. That has been my last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, because I've been quite busy. But then again, here we are. So let's do this.
Yes.
So Nduku, now the real introduction of who you are, what you do, or what you're good at, or what you've been known to do. There are people who call you certain names. When they think of Nduku, what comes to mind?
Okay. First of all, I'm a teacher. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a friend. I have been, I don't know, the past... Well, now my kids are grown. I mean, like 13 and 9. So I realized that I now have a lot of time in my hands. Wasn't like before where I was, these kids are super needy. Now they're super independent. So I find myself like having so much time in my hands in terms of, I get off from work. I like what you said about, how we spend so much time at work, and then when we get home, you hit the ground running, right? You're just busy making sure these kids have been fed, they've showered. It's like this hamster, you're running on that wheel. Yeah, so for me, I feel like apart from that, apart from all these roles, who am I, right? Like, what defines me, what do you asked me, who am I Nduku? I had put Nduku aside for a long time, for a very long time. Reason being, my kids grew up in Europe, right? So we didn't have kind of help. There was no nanny, there was no, driver, anything that was helping me,
You had no, like, this support system or ecosystem, something like that?
Nothing. And that time, you have a job as well, yeah? So dropping the kids to school, going to work, picking them up, And then now when I got to Nairobi 4.5 years ago, it was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, you have help. Like, you can't even don't think about it. You have to go shopping where Carrefour delivers 24 hours. You have like, there's everything for everyone anytime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was like, oh, okay. So that's where I started to realize that I can create time for myself. Because I didn't have that.
Okay.
I have never had that. So I never had time to go for yoga. I never had time to go for, like, movies. Never had time to even just go do a body scrub or, pedicure, yes, once in a while. But I find, like, here, it's like, wow, there's a lot of me now. Like, I've started to, I started to put myself also on the forefront. Because, I mean, if you have older kids, they're not really about, oh, mommy.
Yeah.
It's about, oh, mommy, drop me here. Mommy, do this. But it's not about any more need. I don't know how to explain.
I understand you, but I understand you.
Yeah.
The attention that they need as they are younger is not the same level of attention that you give them as they've grown older.
Exactly. And that's how I find I have so much time for myself. And for my career, I found that I have also taken up, like, I've grown.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I really invested in myself, also in doing, like, further education studies, like how I can support myself better, to be able to give better also to the kids and to the parents, because I'm a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
So I work with kids under the age of 6. So here I am at home. My kids are like, okay, all done and not really needing me. And then I have these other kids who are just so...
Oh, back at school.
Yeah. So at school I feel, oh my God, this is such a rewarding job, especially now, because we arrived during COVID.
When you came, it was in 2019.
So
before we get to that, can you first tell us how... First, let's start from, how did you land the job? Is it something you were looking for, that job, that specific job? Is it something that you aimed for? Or is it just something that, like, there's an opportunity here, come and do this, and then you started?
Okay. Actually, this is a funny, I don't know if it's funny or whatever story. Because now that I sit here, I find myself in a similar situation in terms of now I'm going back. So I was coming... like my husband got a job in Nairobi, so we had 2 weeks to pack and move.
Okay.
And then now I saw this advertisement of and I was like, oh, am I really ready to land and start working? Because it was gonna be immediate. Like, we land, I think I had a week, and then I started working. And I was like, I wanna, let my kids digest and whatever. So when I did the application for the job, I did a shoddy job, really. I just was like, you know what, let me get this off my, Funny thing, they called me the next day.
Oh.
As in, like, okay, so are you ready? And I'm thinking, oh, no, I'm not. But yeah, anyway, it's a good idea because it was the school where my kids would join. So we would, it would help for them to settle.
And they've never been here, and you've been here before. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's how I just landed a job here. And yeah, so when I started, it was okay, actually. It just was a smooth transition for all of us.
You were not doing the same job in Germany?
I was. Actually, in Germany, I was running my own daycare.
Okay.
So I had to close the shop. I had to close the building, sell everything. Because it was like, okay, so, I mean, it's either I stay and, but because of family. So I find myself, because of the nature of my husband's career, closing shop, moving. I'm in the same situation right now, right? I had to now quit my job, and now I'm moving to Berlin.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I had never thought that I would come back to Kenya. Like it was something that was so far for me. I always knew I would come, maybe in retirement or something like that. But then I found myself, because my husband got a job here, that I'm coming back home. Do you know how that feeling is?
I don't. I can't imagine. I'm trying to imagine. So, briefly tell us, because now that you've mentioned you were not thinking about Kenya in the near future. Yeah. So what was that like?
Yeah. I mean, it was like this kind of, I don't know. I can't put my fingers on this. It was surreal. Like I couldn't understand what's happening, because I had prepared myself. Actually, it was at the time when I had now finally settled down in Germany. So it had taken me
After
13, 14 years.
Oh.
Because I was always like, oh no, this is not my home, this is not this. But then at some point I was like, okay, you know what, Nduku? Make peace. This is your reality. Accept. I immediately after accepting,
that's when
now we had to move back. So I'm wondering for myself, like when we go back, how it's gonna be. Is it gonna be now another process of readjusting, finding new friends, because it's a totally different city from where we used to stay. Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, for sure, it's gonna be a challenge, because if you're even us, think about it, us as Nairobians, we're also very closed. We don't let any foreigner in easily. Like, you have to be either, I don't know, this kind of vibe or who you are or whatever. So it's very hard.
A friend of a friend,
exactly.
in a certain place, a parent of this school, somewhere. Like something has to let you join the group. Something has to introduce you to the group. Something has to introduce you to the clique. But I think that happens everywhere. But what is happening with you when you're moving around so much? Especially, now my question would be, the first time you moved out of Kenya, what was the objective? Because now you're saying you're settling 12 years later or 13 years later. What was the objective, and why did it take that long to finally accept that now this is my home?
Yeah, because I think, okay, you said it's also everywhere in the world, wherever you go, that you will never feel, you won't feel like, hey, Ati, this is my home. So for me, I feel like it took me that long because, first of all, I had my kids there, and I wanted them to understand and appreciate my culture, where I grew up, what we are, and I it was really, like I used to explain to them, hey, uko home hata huwezi behave hivi. Hakuna mtu you know what I mean? So they used to just have an image of, and just
so you could actually tell them, like, you used to be beaten, but here you can't beat you. Used to be
tunaogana nini ile karai ilikuwa hivi, then they're just looking at me like, haya wewe unaongea juu ya nini?
So it was always, but you've told them a lot about your childhood, your growing up.
Of course. And of course you do the phone calls, you call your mom, your auntie.
Yeah.
But then I think for me the worst part was when, not worst, but where I got really emotional and was like things like Christmas.
Oh.
You call home, watu wa kuku juu ya nyama choma, pilao nini. That time we are eating bread. Like we're eating a cold meal, or it's fine. It's a nice community. You feel, but at the back of your mind,
no one is going to make it as big of a deal as here, as home.
No, it is. It is also. I mean, in their own way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not downplaying whatever that happens there. But for me, this is what I know. This is how I knew how I spent Christmas. So if I tell my kids that you all come, we go buy, I'm buying for you a dress for Christmas, they don't understand, because this is not their culture over there. So when I'm trying to explain to them, this is how I grew up. This is what us guys. This is what made Christmas. This is what, Yeah, so when we came here, eventually they have seen and they have come to appreciate also. And that was so important for me. Like it's not a one-sided story. Like there are two sides. And now they can take it and embrace it and be like, okay, when they go back there, let's see what they will give back. It's all about giving back as well. Whatever they have accumulated and grown from here, because someone like my daughter, my youngest one, like now they've closed school, she wakes up, she has breakfast, and she's out of the house the whole day, like she's just playing with, so she'll just come, have lunch, go. This was not, and I think these are some of the things also that we take back and go like, oh,
I will miss
the openness, how people are so accommodative, and also not being aware of your blackness is one thing I will really miss. Like in terms of, I just walk into, like I don't even have to meet a friend a single day, but when I go to like Carrefour or I feel the people, I connect with them, I feel this is home, this is. So over there you're aware of the color of your skin.
Okay. So what are the choices that you're making differently then? If it's leaving the house, if it's doing like, so now that you're aware of your color, how does that affect you or your movements? What you say?
You mean over there? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think now I've grown. So I've become more appreciative of who I am. And you take me. If you don't take me as I am, Nduku na shida si mimi. So now I think I move differently. It used to affect me more. It used to affect me because on top of that, like my children were asking me, like we would walk into a store and someone would call them like, what do you call this? Cocoa powder?
Drinking chocolate?
Yes. They would call them that in that language, and I would be like, wow. And then now when we get home, around the table when we're having dinner, that's the conversation. Like, how black am I? Who am I? These are my kids asking me. Even them, they're faced with this, Yeah, they're like, hiya, what's going on? Like, but right now we don't have that conversation,
Yeah.
And I think it was a nice point to come here for them to just be more confident in themselves, because even when they go to school, they see people who look like them. Like it's not a conversation anymore.
Yeah.
And I think for them as well, when they move back, they are more self-aware.
Okay.
You know, it's not... That's my prayer, that it's...
It's not a conversation you guys have had. It's a prayer that this experience has impacted on them positively, especially in terms of their identity.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me as well, like, if I go somewhere, I feel I can stand up for myself, I can stand up for my children. I'm more vocal.
Okay.
I don't let things go under the bus.
What happened? What happened for you to be more vocal? What do you think changed?
What happened? Let me tell you. True story. So I was looking for a daycare spot for my daughter. And then when I went to see this daycare, so this lady was like, okay, I'm okay with taking your child in my whatever. But I have to find out if the other parents are okay with having a black child in the group. You know, like, and I was like...
This is here in Nairobi?
Uko.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, so how does that play a role? Anyway, that time I was young. But I remember that how it made me feel. You know, it went... Like, how is that even something that anyone can think about? Like, you have to...
In the 2000s. This is the year 2000 and something.
Yeah. For me, I was like, I was really offended. But I ended up taking the spot, which I really regret, because I could have even kept her at home. But, you know, over there, what you get, you take, because the spots are very limited. So I remember in the end, I was like, no, that was not right. Really, I felt like I was treated like a... You know, that citizen who is uko nyuma, third world citizen.
Yeah.
So I think after that experience is when I started being like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to take things lying down. You know, like, I have to also speak up. Because, you know, the other time I go order coffee, I say, okay, I take my coffee without milk.
Okay.
So this lady tells me, oh, so you like it like, you know? And I was like...
You like it the same way like you...
I know.
Okay, it's not funny.
It's not
It's just like... It's a line...
It's a line in a movie. Chukua tu venye iko.
Like vile pia we uko.
And I remember I got so... even now, you see there's a line behind of people who want to... So even these people got offended. Like, they were like, oh, nongeaje. You know, like, how can you tell someone something like that? And I remember I said, you know what, ata yo wacha ikae, yo kahawa wacha ikae. And I remember this lady was also very apologetic. You know, some things we also do. Unajua ukiona mzungu hapo tao, si unamwambia ati sijui rangi ya tao, sijui nini, without thinking.
You say, like, you throw around a hurtful comment without knowing.
Yes. And it's also offensive, right? Like, if you see ati leta nipatie pesa nini. So it's the same way, like, sometimes... So, okay, so coming back to this story, this woman was doing it out of it wasn't intentional.
It was meant to be a joke, a line in a movie. I'm seeing it as a line in a movie. But not neither the time with you. Wait.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, it's one of those things, even sometimes we throw around words without... reflecting and thinking, it's hitting someone in a different way, right? So I think this is what happened in that situation. The same way with that lady who said, let me ask the parents if they're okay with having a black child in the group.
Do you always felt like you needed to fight for your life?
Yes.
There?
Yes.
Those past 10 years?
Yeah. I mean, you're already disadvantaged, Nekesa. You already so you have to step up. If you're standing next to this other person, you have to speak louder. You have to step up.
Uonekane.
Exactly. Lazima ukue extra. Ukinyamaza uende usimame pale, you'll be there the whole day, the whole week.
Okay.
And no one will be there to speak for your children. I think that's the thing that...
And how has it been in terms of relationships now that you've been in, and you got married by a German? in terms of family, in-laws? You know, in-laws are already hard.
Oh, darling.
Just in a normal settings, in-laws is just hard. And then now then, pick that.
Yeah.
Navigating that relationship, has it been? Or any other relationship?
Okay. Well, I love my in-laws. I do. It's a really nice family. You know, it took me a while to understand the culture, like how things work there, how people think, how they do their things. It took me a while. But once I got into the whole gist of it, yeah, things just kind of they were flowing. But I mean, it's the other way around, the same thing, right? Like, you see, like my parents, their in-laws, it's a different kind of vibe, you know. Like my parents would enjoy just sitting down the whole day, having tea. Whereas on the other side, it's all about outdoors. We have to go hiking. We have to go do something. What's the plan? What's the plan? Okay, we wake up in the morning. We have to go. We have to do. We have to. Meanwhile, even as our culture, tukasema kesho tutenda sijui wapi. Sawa, tutenda sawa. Tusipoenda pia ni sawa. Okay. Ama tutenda 8 sawa, tutenda 9, tutenda 10, you know. Yeah. Lakini hiyo side ingine unajipata uko organ, you have to be. These guys are like clockwork. Kumenyesha, hakujenyesha nini?
Tulisema tunaenda. Tunaamka tunaenda. So I think for me that was the hardest part because nilikuwa zile za leo imagine sijisikii lakini juu ulicommit na mlikubaliana. You wake up and go.
You will wake up and go. I mean, just those two small things. So I think when, for example, there's one time now that we have been here, the in-laws came for a Christmas and I could see how super upset they were. You know, like us, how we do our Christmas. Nyama ikiiva itaiva. Sangapi hatujui. Ule wa kuchoma nyama kwa wapi? Atakuja sangapi? Hatujui.
Atakuja tu. Ako kwa nini? Ako kwa plans alipigiwa simu atakuja.
Nini hiyo maji ya chumvi? You know, I could just see how they were like, wow.
Why were they frustrated? And how is that hosting, that you are hosting?
Yes, of course you're nervous because wacha nikwambie, watu wanakuanga watu tunakula sangapi? 3 p.m. Okay. 3 p.m. ndo sasa kanyama kanafanyiwa hivi. You know, like, okay, so what are we waiting for? You know? And I'm like, just take it easy. I mean, I wish in as much as, you know, I also accommodate that kind of, you know.
That lifestyle.
Yeah. Come in this other direction as well and see life isn't about like being so rigid. You can be just relaxed. You know? Because I see what it does. If you're so rigid, you can't just be easy.
You get so frustrated.
Yeah. And then you're in Kenya. You're in Kenya. How do you expect? If I call my Uber, it will come. It shows me 9 minutes, but it can come in 20. Or it can come in 5. So, you know what I mean? Like, you can just be like, okay, let me just be super easy. Take whatever that's coming, when it's coming, how it's coming. Yeah. So, in that sense, I think even my kids, they have learned this being flexible, kind of, you know, like just being not, to just think outside the box, finding other solutions, because you know how things go. And this is what I'll miss, because now, uko hivyo, correct.
Oh, that's how you feel like it's you have to be perfect.
You have to be
100% every time, morning till evening. And how does that make you, now that the family, now that you are there, here, there, are there conversations that you guys need to have?
Yes, definitely.
Defining yourselves, defining your space.
Yeah.
Defining what you'll do, how. And sometimes, maybe I'm sharing this from my own experience, I feel like that responsibility is on you as the mother, for some reason. Do you feel like that?
Yes. Definitely. I mean, I think it's a shared responsibility.
It is. But
but I think it falls heavy on me because of what I want to instill, the values I want to instill. No, so for that one, he will just talk just facts, whatever.
Yeah.
But me, I want to go deeper. I want to just be like, haya, ikitu see face value, there's more.
Yeah.
And usione ati ikitu iko hivi. We have to discuss, and it's something I want to reinforce. Like it's already starting. It's already happening. Okay. This conversation.
Okay.
So we find ourselves every day talking about this kind of issue. They seem to understand, but I think like it hasn't actualized.
Rang a bell.
Yeah, it hasn't.
Okay.
So I think when things have already processed, because now, like I told you, there's a lot happening, in terms of closing shop, moving, nini. So hakuna hiyo time ya kuprocess hizi vitu zote. So I think tutaprocess tukivuka boda. Yeah, but so far so good. I think, like I told you, I think coming here was very, very essential. Like it was one of those things where I feel we all grew, Like if I compare myself 5 years ago and now, I'm a different person. If I compare my relationships, like what I value, the people who I have decided to keep close, as you go, you make your decisions, like you pick and drop, and choose now what is important. Why do I have to hold on to this? And if you feel like it's not working, you just let it go. I mean, even material, like now, let me tell you, I am also, I have become minimalistic.
Exactly.
You know me?
Yeah.
I used to have, I just go to a place, like I can't even believe I went to Masai Market the other day and I bought one item. Normally nilikuwa natoka hivi. Ndio mse, twende nifuate.
Mtu akukubebea vitu. It's how much you've bought.
Because of how much, and it's nonsense. It's things. So I've decided to be this person who is very intentional. Like if this is what I want, just this thing, I take it.
Just this one quality thing. So you need to stop collecting. Do you think that has been affected by your moving around?
Yes. Yes.
You've realized you had to leave a lot of things.
Wacha nikwambie, no. I've learned. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
I think I've moved maybe I want to say 9 times.
Wow.
In my adult life.
Wow.
And growing up, us guys never moved. I grew up in the same house. The time I moved is when I went to study.
And you weren't even living there as much.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only... So my whole childhood, I've had that. So my kids are the ones who have to struggle. Like, okay, relocating, moving. Okay, we
9
here.
times.
9 times. 9. I kid you not. So we've been here, we've been there, we've been there. So for them, I know they struggle. Like when you get to a place, like right now, they've made such meaningful friendships, right? Now they have to...
They
for the
change
next
friends
exactly.
Again. Must be frustrating for the kids too.
It is, especially for the older one, because now she's a teenager.
Okay.
And now teenagers, it's hard for them to now go and start forming new friendships. But also what I've realized is that with every place that we have been, we still made this quality, good friends who we still have till today.
Yeah.
Who the kids still call each other. I mean, if it's 1 year, those 9 places we've been, there have been people. But it's still like one of those things where you have to always call yourself to the center, call everyone and say, okay, next. Yeah, but I was just telling myself, I really now want, if now this is it, we just go and stay for, I don't know how long.
Exactly.
But I'm not ready for another
move.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to ask you, from that, if you can then, maybe just 2 questions. What then defines success to you, if you have ever thought about it? Because now that you're saying, okay, we have been, let me use a general, Africans have been accused of amassing those things. Those things you're saying now, you won't buy them anymore. Think about them from the topmost, what we consider the best land, down to everything, houses. We are big on amassing. On buying stuff. And we feel like that defines success, or that defines who we are. And then there's someone who is big on traveling or experiencing the world. Then that's their definition of success. I've really experienced the world,
Yeah.
So, and some people, it's about the relationships, quality of relationships, friendships, the people. So what then, if you've ever thought about it, defines success to you?
Oh my God, that's such a nice question. Well, I think for me, I am more of spending quality time with family. Like if you have that time that you can go sit down, cook a meal. For me, success is when I have made the best meal my children have eaten, and they're having seconds and thirds, and oh mom, this is so yummy. For me, I'm just like, I'm home. Second thing is traveling. You said it. I love to travel.
Okay.
You know that about me. So I told you I went on this trip from Nairobi to South Africa in a Land Cruiser by myself.
Nice. By road? By yourself?
Road, yes. Oh, I had this guy who
But you were solo?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that for me is really one of those things I want to do more. I want to see the world more. And I also don't want to do like a traditional kind of travel, like not your kawaida tourist person ati Masai Mara uko hapo tu hivi. Something different, And I see people do things really, like some people are walking from I don't know which continent all the way to I don't know Vietnam, wherever. And I'm like, why not? But what I realized, traveling alone as a woman is not as easy. Like when I went on this trip all the way down, it was just like it was nice. I had this guy, but if I wanted to do it alone, it's hard.
It's hard.
There are places I experienced a lot of challenges. Like it was some places where you maybe I didn't have access to, or it was a challenge just getting someone, or even during the border stops, someone just makes a comment and I'm just like, wow, I mean, and success for me also felt the time I was standing on the Victoria Falls. I can't tell you, it was a really, really, I can't explain that feeling. So for me, it's not about ati lazima ninunue ka land mahali. Sawa, unaweza nunua, but the feeling
it's
of...
not the ultimate.
Yeah. Just to go see the world, meet people, different, cultures. Just try something different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
That's for me what I would define as success.
So when you stand somewhere and look back, I don't know whether you have those moments, but I have those moments where I stand and look back and think to myself what I was telling myself as a kid growing up, or those things I was telling myself I'll do or I'll be, is this anywhere close to where you saw yourself, or this is the farthest?
Wow.
What are the stories you used to tell yourself?
First of all, me wanted to be a doctor, And then now here I am, sijui niko nini. I had not, hakuna kitu is happening in my life right now that I had envisioned. Nothing. Kila kitu tu ilienda venye ilienda, yani si tulienda tu hivyo. With the flow, you know.
I like the eye.
Yeah, and I think I didn't turn out so bad.
No. Niyo kule umeshtuka.
Imagine, hakuna tikitu nilikuwa nimenini. Everything that I had told myself as a child is the exact opposite.
I love that. But here you are, loving the decisions that you're making and the choices and the consequences of those choices. Sindio?
Well, yes and no, but yeah. Well, I think, yes, I'm actually very, even, I think to someone like my dad, I think he looks at me like, aki wewe, your investment yote nililipa school fees nini.
Umekuwa world traveler.
Sorry. Ati uko wapi siku hizi? Sikuwa nimepanga hivyo by the way. Nilikuwa nimepanga utende ukwe daktari, ufanye nini. But I'm like, Dad, it happened how it happened.
Yeah.
Same thing with my brother who's now a designer. After amekuja amesoma hapa sijui miaka ngapi. He left school and did the exact opposite of
what he wanted to do.
So I think what I'm taking away from this is I won't even, my children, no pressure, nothing.
Yeah.
You be who you want to be. If you want to be a ballerina, mtu wa kufanya gymnastics, mtu wa lawyer, uko ICC, I mean whatever. The world is your playground. Just go. And I think that's one of those things where our parents didn't, we were very conditioned. Like when if I had this idea with you and it didn't happen, I don't know what your parents think, but I think you uliingia tu uliingia the correct direction.
Anyway, so knowing you and knowing your family, now that I know you guys you're not like all in the same space. Another sister of yours traveled, how do you, now that you've mentioned your dad, I was wondering, your family, how have they taken all that, and how then do you always either come back? It's not like I don't know, do you have a regular thing, or it's just everyone for themselves? Tutaongea.
It's a bit of both, I would say, because it's really hard to find everyone together at the same time. Yeah. But when we do, things are good. Like we just pick it up from where we dropped it. But it's not a kawaida everyday thing. You know, I envy those families who have Sunday lunches every Sunday. You know, there are those kind of people who.
Yeah, those kind of families who do that.
Yeah, like every Sunday it's hakuna plan nyingine unajua. This is what we are doing.
Yeah.
So for us ile siku utasikia everyone is free, you run, come, we are meeting, you know, kind of thing. Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those things where I go like, we made our own choices, just out of life, right? Like my sister, whoever, tuko pali tuko sahi, but it still works. Like we still find a way of coming back together. Yeah. With my mom, who she lives in the States, like Hash is mostly there. Yeah. So when Hash shows up, that's when everyone is like, okay, you know what?
Mom is around.
Drop everything you're doing.
Yeah.
We have to go see. Yeah. Yeah, so it's been, I wouldn't say ati kuna formula. Kwa hiyo kitu hakuna. Yeah. It's the way it is, it's how you take it. Yeah. And you appreciate every single moment. Because right now, like in 2-3 days, now it's gonna be me who's on voice, on Zoom. Yeah. Nimekuwa hivi kwa Zoom, watu wakikula nini, you know, having a nice time together. So, yeah, you can't have it all. you know.
I know that maybe you haven't thought about this, but do you know how courageous it is to up and leave and to set up a whole life somewhere else, coming from where we are coming from? Because like you're saying, we were conditioned to think we are going to end up like this, go to school, go to work, da. But this other one, for uprooting your life and going planting it somewhere, actually learning everything that you need to learn and set up your life there, make it, have money flowing from you, from whatever it is that, you're still alive, you've come back. It's not easy. It takes a lot of courage. For me, I feel like, I look at you and I feel like it takes a lot of courage. Now, doing that, if you are alone, okay.
Yeah.
If you are alone, maybe kabagpak sure umeenda, you know your essentials. But now that you have other people that are depending on you, and you have to make decisions, the decisions are hata kumove tu nyumba hapa inakuanga.
I know.
You plan, you look for schools before you look for, So I'm imagining it's uprooting and planting now in countries that have different systems and different economics, whatever. Everything is completely different. Learning how this system works is not the same as this system. And being able to set up your life, that is, for me, I look at it from a place of courage. You have a lot of courage, and you've not been afraid to live your life. Because on this other side, some of us, if we're given that opportunity, we will think. We need time to think.
And plan.
And then say yes or no.
I know.
I'm like,
in the end,
no.
I do.
Yeah. So that was like my reflection to you. Like, I feel like that's a very bold and courageous moves you have made. So don't usijishuku. The thing you've talked about is just those conversations and sitting down to have them, now that it's you and the kids, and so you sit down and have those conversations and you live your life, right? Yeah.
No, I like what you're saying. I do. I didn't look at it that way, though. I just thought, it's one of those things that is required of me. And also, I was ready for a new, how do you say, just a new start, a new challenge. Because I felt I need a boost. I need something that will, my mind a bit. A change is as good as a rest.
Yes.
If you just do the same thing all over the whole time, it's like, okay. I think I'm that's how I'm engineered. Like I like to just go and try out new things.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if I didn't have kids, I don't know. I think I would have lived in already 20 countries.
I
like
can imagine.
Yeah. I'd be like, ukimaliza hapa, you're like, okay, you know what?
I'm done.
Tunaenda wapi saizi?
Another country.
Yeah. Because
wow.
it's really rewarding.
Okay.
At the moment you feel you're stressed and what. But once you look back, like if I look back right now, I'm like, wow.
And what is, now a question comes to mind. What is security to you? Okay, I know I've asked the one for success, but now security. What does security mean to you then?
Imagine right now, I don't even have any, before it used to be like being fixed and being locked down in one place. But right now I don't have that. Like I don't have anything that I call really, this is my solid place. My solid place can be anywhere, as long as I'm with my kids, as long as, we are a family. Where we are, hata tukikuwa hapo tu Java tukikunywa coffee. Yeah. Because I thought, you can really, whatever your mind on this thing, and then it's not there tomorrow. What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? No, really, what do you do?
Exactly. You just need to learn to let go.
Even when I come to your house for coffee, I'll feel this is my security.
Yeah.
So it's where
in the moment that you have, that time that you have right there and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I can just feel, I can feel my feet. I can feel this solid of where I stand.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Okay. So interesting.
Yeah, so I had always had this idea at your street, you have to have this, you have to have that, but it's not.
When did that change?
I think it just changed with being here in Nairobi and growing, and just looking at what's happening around, like if you drive through Kilimani, Kileleshwa, I'm just like, what's happening? Like places are shooting, and these are people who used to have solid homes. They used to have like a standalone. Now not anymore. Now it's like a whole estate, like a whole buruburu.
Yes.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4 in one flat.
Yes, that's what's going on in Nairobi.
So because I don't think, no. And then what's going to happen
That's
in
not
10
for
years?
you. Exactly.
Yeah. What's going to happen in the next 10 years? Are you going to still be talking about the same thing? Or are they now going to demolish and have like a floating? I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's not, if anything for me, I would acquire and move into the shags. I'm not feeling this place anymore. It's getting too much for me. Yeah. So that ushago to life, that chilled
Quiet countryside life. You have your space.
Yeah. Fresh air, nini.
Okay, Nduku. So what are your your parting shots after you've talked about your lesson from your own life? After we've spoken, what do you think? I've taken out a lesson from your life, but what do you think someone can, something that you can articulate that you feel okay?
Oh, wow. Hey, that's a hard one. Okay, so what I would say is we just need to come back to the center. We need to stop focusing on, things that are, like chasing after that cloud, because you'll never catch it. You think you're there and then you're not. So goes the same thing also with everything, like the way we want you to acquire more money, acquire wealth, what. Just stop and breathe. Live the moment. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you, in the now. Just live in the now. That's what I'm taking for myself. I mean, it's not like I am this but it's what I'm practicing, when I wake up. What do you say? Being mindful, being grateful, meditating, just thinking about the next person. Always on the line, wherever you are, whatever. Even when you're driving, the person in front of you, behind. Yeah, because the whole time we are always focusing on me. But if you just stop, you can smell the coffee. You can smell the coffee. You can see the butterflies. You can see the bees, the ants, the snails, the whatever. And I think working with kids has also helped me to see things in their own eyes. Because them, what they see, how they see it, how they feel it, is just, it's super intense.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you have kids, they tell you, oh, mommy, look at this, and, and that's how I have learned to, okay, I am learning. I've learned, it's come a long way.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm just like, you know what? Just take it. Pole pole tu venye inakam. Same thing as a child.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm so grateful that you had me here. I always watch your shows on on Instagram. I'm just like, maybe one day. And then here I am.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, Nduku. Thank you for being able to at least try to unpack that. because I hope you will see this and you'll look back and you'll show your friends. I don't know whether you have Kenyans, a community of Kenyans out there, and people who may be feeling a little bit lost, processing a lot of these things, if they are at all processing. There's a lot happening right now. So many people are being affected by all these changes that are going on, all these decisions that Trump is making. You may think, oh, that's too far-fetched. You know someone who's been affected, you know. So, yeah, it's good. You've said very important things here that I've taken out. Yeah, and I envy you and your 9 lives. No, you're on the 10th.
Onto my 10th one.
I envy you and your 9 lives and on to the 10th. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've also learned a thing or two. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and tell someone to watch. Have a good one.